Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're going to try something a little different, something I think you'll find, well, pretty fascinating. We're going to be using poetry, specifically Arabic poetry, to sort of explore history, culture, and even, some pretty timeless questions about human nature.
Yeah, it's really amazing how much insight you can gain from poetry.
Right.
It's not just about pretty words. It's like a window into the heart and mind of another time and place.
Exactly. We're diving into the Substack. It's called Arabian Echoes, which translates and shares all kinds of Arabic poetry. And through this deep dive, we'll get a glimpse into a world that, it might seem distant, but it's surprisingly relevant to our lives today.
Yeah, and the poem that we're going to be looking at is by al-Walid al-Baji, a scholar, judge, and poet who lived in al-Andalus. That's present-day Spain and Portugal back in the 11th century.
Wow, the 11th century. That feels like ages ago. What was going on back then that, might have influenced his poetry?
Well, imagine a society just buzzing with new ideas and art and scholarship. Al-Andalus was like a melting pot of cultures and like a center of learning in the Islamic world. Al-Baji himself traveled extensively. He studied in Mecca, Baghdad, Damascus, and even Egypt. So his poetry reflects this vibrant intellectual atmosphere, but it also kind of captures the anxieties of a society undergoing some pretty rapid change.
Yeah, I could already sense there's a story here. This isn't just some dusty old poem.
Yeah.
It's like a living piece of history, right?
Absolutely. And what's so captivating is how al-Baji uses humor to explore these changes, particularly the shift from actions speaking louder than words to a time where kindness and nobility seem to become more about talk than action.
Oh, I've definitely encountered people like that. The guy who were all talk and no follow through. It sounds like al-Baji was noticing something similar way back then.
Yeah, he was incredibly perceptive. And that's what makes this poem so fascinating. It holds up a mirror to human nature, something we can all relate to even centuries later.
Okay, I'm hooked. Let's hear this poem.
We actually have two translations for you, a literal one and then one that rhymes.
Oh, cool.
Just so we can kind of capture all the nuances of al-Baji's work. So first I'll read the literal translation.
Okay.
The era of generosity and noble men has passed. May God bless it with rain from the clouds. Kindness once was action without words, but now kindness is merely spoken words.
Wow.
So that's the literal translation.
Yeah.
And now for the rhymed one, which kind of adds, I think, a little more emotional depth.
Okay.
The days of noble deeds have gone, blessed by clouds that once shone on, when kindness spoke through acts sincere. Now it's mere words we often hear.
Wow. It's striking to hear them side by side.
It is.
I don't know, the rhymed one really brings out that poetic beauty.
Yeah.
And the sense of longing for a different time.
Yeah, there's like this nostalgia, almost like a yearning for the return of values. When you hear clouds that once shone on, it's like they're not shining anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a really good point. And that opening line, the era of generosity and noble men has passed. Mm-hmm. It really sets the tone for the entire poem.
It does.
Like he's really lamenting the loss of something really precious.
It is.
What do you make of that?
Well, I think it's interesting because it speaks to this experience we all have as humans.
Right.
That feeling that things were better in the past.
Yeah.
But notice how al-Baji doesn't just dwell on the negative.
Right.
He calls upon a blessing, asking God to bless it with rain from the clouds.
Right.
And in Arabic culture, rain is really powerful. It's a symbol of renewal and mercy.
Oh, that's a really great point. So it's like he's acknowledging the loss.
Yeah.
But at the same time, holding on to a tiny bit of hope for the future.
Exactly.
I am also struck by this contrast that he makes between actions and words.
Yeah.
Kindness once was action without words, but now kindness is merely spoken words.
Yeah.
Is he saying that we've become all talk and no action?
That is a really interesting question. And honestly, I think it's more relevant today than ever. Is al-Baji is he just being nostalgic, or is this a deeper critique of society? Like he's worried we're prioritizing appearances over genuine action.
Right. It's like, is it genuine or not?
Exactly.
And don't forget the humor. It's woven throughout the poem, adding another layer of enjoyment and making those deeper reflections even more impactful. So he's using humor to make a serious point, but also to make it memorable and even entertaining. It's like It's like a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, but in this case, it's the humor that helps the wisdom go down.
I love that analogy. And Arabian Echoes, the Substack we're exploring, does a fantastic job of capturing this complexity. Not only do they provide the literal translations of the poems, but they also offer these beautifully crafted rhymed versions that really bring the language to life.
Yeah, that's so important because I feel like sometimes translations can lose some of the magic of the original.
Absolutely. And Arabian Echoes really goes the extra mile to ensure that the essence of the poem, the humor, the imagery, the rhythm, it all shines through.
It sounds like this Substack is like a goldmine for anyone who wants to explore Arabic poetry, even if they're complete beginners. It's like having a friendly guide who walks you through it all.
That's a great way to put it. And what I find so compelling is that al-Baji's concerns, those anxieties about words losing their weight and actions becoming empty gestures, they resonate so strongly with our own experiences today.
Yeah, it's almost eerie, right? Like he's speaking directly to us across the centuries. Have we really not figured this out yet?
It's a timeless dilemma, isn't it? And that's why we wanted to share this poem with you, because it invites us to reflect on our own lives and ask ourselves some tough questions. In fact, Arabian Echoes poses a few questions to its readers that I think are worth exploring.
Okay, hit me with those questions. I'm ready to do some soul searching.
All right, the first one is this. Do you believe actions still speak louder than words in today's world?
Wow, that's a big one. I mean, in a world of social media and carefully curated online personas, it's easy to get swept up in what people say they believe or what they claim to be doing, But what about their actual actions? Do they match up?
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in the performance, isn't it? But al-Baji reminds us that that true character is revealed through deeds, not just pronouncements.
It's like he's urging us to look beyond the surface, to pay attention to what people do, not just what they say. It's a good reminder, especially in today's world where it's so easy to get distracted by all the noise.
And that leads us to the next question. Can you recall a moment when kindness was shown more through words than actions? This one's a bit more personal, inviting us to think about our own experiences.
Oof, I've definitely been on the receiving end of empty promises and insincere words of comfort. It can be so much more hurtful than someone just being honest and saying, hey, I don't know what to say, but I'm here for you.
Yeah, it really highlights the difference between like saying the right thing and genuinely being there for someone. It makes you wonder if sometimes silence is a more eloquent expression of kindness than a flurry of hollow words.
That's such a thought-provoking idea, and it ties in perfectly with al-Baji's poem. He wasn't just critiquing empty gestures. He was pointing to a deeper shift in societal values.
Exactly, and that leads us to the final question from Arabian Echoes, which is perhaps the most challenging of all. It asks, how do you reconcile the changing nature of social norms?
Okay, unpack that one for me. What does it mean in the context of this poem and in our own lives?
Well, al-Baji was living in a time of tremendous change. Think about it. He was witnessing the rise of a new culture, the blending of different traditions and ideas, and with that came a reassessment of values, a questioning of what was considered noble or generous.
So he was writing at a time when the old ways were being challenged and people were trying to figure out what the new rules should be.
Precisely. And this question, how do you reconcile the changing nature of social norms? It invites us to think about how we navigate that tension between tradition and progress. Yeah. How do we hold on to the values that are important to us while also adapting to a changing world? It's
a tricky balance, isn't it? On the one hand, we want to respect the wisdom of the past, but on the other hand, we don't want to be stuck in outdated ways of thinking. It's like we're constantly trying to find that sweet spot between honoring tradition and embracing progress.
And that's where al-Baji's humor becomes so powerful. He doesn't offer easy answers. He doesn't preach or tell us what to think. Instead, he uses humor to illuminate those contradictions, to make us laugh at ourselves and the absurdity of it all.
It's like he's saying, hey, this whole figuring out life thing is messy and confusing, but we can at least find some humor in the struggle.
That's a great way to put it, and it's a reminder that humor can be a powerful tool for coping with change, for questioning assumptions, and for finding meaning in the midst of uncertainty.
It's not about making light of serious issues. It's about using humor to gain a fresh perspective, to step back and see things in a new light.
And ultimately, that's what al-Baji's poetry invites us to do. It encourages us to look at the world around us, at ourselves, with a sense of curiosity, with a touch of humor, and with the willingness to engage with those timeless questions that have puzzled humanity for centuries.
It's like he's handing us a pair of glasses that allow us to see the world in a different way, a way that's both insightful and entertaining.
And perhaps by exploring the wisdom and humor of poets like al-Baji, we can gain some valuable insights into navigating our own complex and ever-changing world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Arabian echoes, I'm left with this thought-provoking image of al-Baji strolling through our modern world, observing our habits and quirks, and crafting witty verses about our social media obsessions, our fast-paced lives, and our endless pursuit of, everything. What do you think he would find most amusing about us today?
Oh, that's a fantastic question to ponder. He might chuckle at our tendency to overshare every detail of our lives, online, or perhaps he'd find humor in our constant need for instant gratification. But I have a feeling he'd also see a lot of beauty and potential in our interconnected world, and our desire to connect with others, and in our endless capacity for innovation and creativity.
Yeah, it's a reminder that even though centuries separate us, we're still grappling with those fundamental questions about human nature, societal values, and the search for meaning. And sometimes the best way to approach those questions is with a sense of curiosity, a healthy dose of humor, and an open mind.
Well said. And remember, Arabian Echoes is just one of many resources out there for exploring the rich world of Arabic poetry. So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those thought-provoking questions swirling in your mind. You never know what amazing insights you might uncover.
Until next time on The Deep Dive.